crazy video. The NFL video I did the other day, that took me like 4 hours to create the graphics, at the video, plus the hour and a half of recording. I just recorded like an hour and a half of Bannerlord's gameplay, so like, you know what, let's just do a quick, easy video. Let's do something that I don't have to, sit down and edit for hours and hours. Let's get back to basics. So I was like, what stuff I don't really talk about on this channel? I talk about sports a lot, I do a lot of video game stuff. But you know, I try to have a nice variety of content. I don't want to be one of those content creators that like, I only talk about one topic. I find a niche, I never move outside that niche. It's just, to me, I don't know, I find that a little bit boring. I have so many hobbies, I have so many different interests, that if I only ever focused on one of those here on this channel, like, I would go crazy. So I was like, what's something I'm into that I don't really talk about much on this channel? And I was like, oh, I don't really talk about music that much on here. So I thought today I would talk about the concerts that I've been to, just quickly. You know, it's going to be a short and sweet video, but I was sitting there and realized, like, man, I've been to quite a few concerts, so I wrote them all down. It took me 2 post-it notes. And like, I know there's some missing, because I'm sitting here and like, I'm racking my brain. I'm like, I know there was something there, like, I just can't remember what it is. Scrolled back through all my social medias, tried to find pictures, whatever else I couldn't, so I'm like, okay, I just didn't post about it or something. But so I don't really remember what it was, but I know there's some gaps in here. But wrote it all down on here. First one, like, I have 2 of these, I don't really know the date. I would have been really young for this first one, probably like 3, 4, 5 years old. Sesame Street on Ice. I don't even know if that counts as a concert, Sesame Street on Ice. But I'm gonna count it. I got these little, like, Big Bird, flashlight things. Like you put Big Bird's head on the end of a flashlight and it lit up yellow. I had that, like, through my whole childhood, that toy, and I got it from Sesame Street on Ice. I was too young, I don't really remember what the actual show was all about. I just remember I had that light up flashlight toy, and then when I was a little bit older, probably like middle school, maybe like 9, 10, 11 years old, somewhere in there, my parents took me to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, like, for Christmas. That blew my mind, but I was so young, like, they use a bunch of laser lights, and that, like, was really scary. So I, like, had my eyes closed, so I wouldn't see the laser light show, but, like, the music was really cool. Obviously kind of like a heavier, rock take on, like, classic Christmas songs. And every year at Christmas for like years and years after I went to that show, my parents would always put on the Trans-Siberian Orchestra CD. It's like they'd play that every year, and I think it's funny, they like paid extra to get this CD that was like signed by the members of the band. But it's like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, like, it's like, I don't know, it's like they're like a solo artist or a band that's like super famous, right? So you're like, well, like, theoretically there isn't a ton of added value in having a signed CD by them, I don't know. But now we're getting into the stuff from when I was a little bit older. This is stuff I definitely remember. The first one I want to talk about is I saw Childish Gambino in 2014. Went with a few friends of mine. This was right after, because the internet came out, either right after or right before, because he was playing songs from Because the Internet during that show. But I've been listening to Childish Gambino since Camp came out in 2011. Like, I love, obviously, Heartbeat from that album, but, like, low-key, That Power is one of, like, my all-time favorite Childish Gambino songs. Like, I know a lot of people probably don't like that song. Never see it talked about much, especially that monologue at the end. don't know, I really connect to that power. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but so we're hyped to go see Childish Gambino because the internet drove to Eugene, Oregon to see that concert. And like there was yeah, we were like up there in the front, a bunch of, us, we were fresh at high school with a bunch of other college people. We weren't going to school there in the Oregon campus, but we were next to this guy, this Chinese exchange student, didn't really speak that much English. And he kept asking us if we wanted Adderall. We're like, no, we're alright. And then we had some marijuana with us, and we rolled a few joints. We went in there, we offered him some, and he was like, my friend and I still quote this to this day. We offered him a joint, and he was like, no, I don't smoke, only Adderall. Like, okay. But that was an amazing concert, like being right there in the thick of it, in the crowd. And I remember it was in the encore, and it was this song, Zealots of Stockholm, I believe it is. I think that's the song. It's been a while, but it's the song from Because the Internet. It gets like a really low, deep bass, like very vibrational, and then it goes like boom, and you get a really fast, like heavy bridge. I can't remember what the song was off the top of my head. I want to say it's Zealots of Stockholm. But right as that song was coming on, like there was just a torrential downpour started coming on, and the beat dropped, and like there was like these strobe lights, and it was lighting up the rain, like these, as it was coming down. Fantastic. One of the best concerts I've ever been to, still to this day. The next year, 2015, I went and saw Lana Del Rey. I don't remember too much about her portion of the concert. I've always been a fan of Lana Del Rey. I know, like, she gets a lot of flack, but the atmosphere around her songs, it just really does speak to me. Especially her older stuff. I don't know, I didn't really listen after Ultraviolence. But the notable thing about this concert that I remember far more than the music is that Courtney Love was your opener. Courtney Love, the only real song that anybody cheered on was Celebrity Skin when she did that. And then at one point, she took her shirt off. She was not wearing a bra. And then she said the N-word a few times. So that was Courtney Love. The next year, 2016, I saw two concerts. The first of which with Kanye West. That was up in Seattle at the Key Arena. And this is the same Pablo tour, and this was like, the Seattle show was kind of like right after he had that big meltdown with Jay-Z. I mean, the concert was amazing. He was standing on this big platform that was kind of like off the ground and moving around. But there was a couple times, like, he would stop a song in the middle of the song, restart it 2-3 times. He said that Jay-Z was trying to kill him at one point. It was a very interesting concert overall. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it, but maybe seeing Kanye maybe one album prior would have been a better experience. The second concert I saw in 2016 was Panic at the Disco, and what's funny is, so I was working at the Adidas, and I love that job to this day. Still my favorite, like, regular job I've worked that isn't like freelance videography, whatever. I was working at Adidas, but I ended up quitting to go work at a bank call center because the pay was like way higher. And my girlfriend at the time and I, she got a job there, and she convinced me to get a job there, so we were both working there, like making a ton of money. I hated it. I quit super quick. That place had a really high turnover. But anyways, so I had originally cleared the day off for this concert with Adidas, but I ended up quitting, moving to this bank job. I thought the hiring process would take a lot longer. But they had such high turnover, they wanted me to get in tickets to this Panic at the Disco concert, and not only was it Panic at the Disco, Something Corporate was opening for Panic at the Disco, and Something Corporate is like one of my all-time favorite early 2010s, late 2000s emo bands. And I was like, I'm not missing Something Corporate, I'm not missing Panic at the Disco. And the call center job was in Portland. This concert was in Abbotsford, Canada, by Vancouver, and this concert was the day before my first day of work at the bank. So I drove up from Portland to Abbotsford, Canada, saw this concert. Concert ended at 9 or 10 p.m. Drove all the way back home to Portland, didn't get home until like, I don't know, that's like a 6-hour drive. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I started work at 8, my first day. So that was that concert. 2017, I saw 2 concerts. The first one was Stevie Nicks. I chose to, it was Stevie Nicks, but they'd already announced she was gonna come through with Fleetwood Mac without Lindsey Buckingham. And I was kind of like, you know what? If Lindsey Buckingham isn't gonna be there, I'd rather just go see Stevie Nicks solo instead of see Fleetwood Mac minus Lindsey Buckingham. So I saw Stevie Nicks. It was pretty good overall. She did a lot of Fleetwood Mac covers, but she did a lot of talking between songs, which I guess okay a little bit, but at one point she was talking about Twilight for like 10 minutes, and then like she played a song while a slideshow from Twilight was on the screen behind her. It was very uncomfortable. Also in 2017, I saw Fall Out Boy for the first time. Now here's the thing, I know I've seen Fall Out Boy twice. This is the first time I've seen them, I know that. For the life of me, I cannot remember when or where the second time I saw them was. I've gone through all my social media, pictures, videos, I can't find it. So I know I've seen them one other time, I just can't remember when. But in 2017, I saw Fall Out Boy for the first time. Obviously, being a scene kid and an emo kid in the late 2000s, early 2010s, as I was, Fall Out Boy was fundamental in my development. You know, I don't look it now, but my hair used to be dyed jet black. It was down over my eye in a fringe. I wore jeans that hugged my skin. You know, studded leather bracelets, the whole 9 yards. I've done it all. I was an emo kid for sure, so Fall Out Boy, first time seeing them live, it felt like a rite of passage. And then 2018, I was super busy. First show of 2018, I saw Paul Simon. Now, I've mentioned it before, but Paul Simon is my favorite musician of all time. Graceland is my favorite album of all time. I absolutely love Paul Simon, Simon and Garfunkel as well. And in 2018, I saw Paul Simon's farewell tour. Got great seats. I was probably about 12 rows back from the front. What's funny is my aunt and uncle were there. I didn't even know they were going to be there, but I looked over and my aunt was waving at me randomly. But yeah, very emotional show. I was crying multiple times. He ended it with Sound of Silence, which was perfect, of course, to end it with. Yeah, a lot of tears. I don't know if this counts as a concert, but in 2018 I saw Last Podcast on the Left live. This is back before they were as big as they are now. If you don't know who they are, they're like a true crime, paranormal oddities type podcast. I haven't listened to them in quite a while, but I used to be a diehard fan. It was like my go-to road trip podcast, listening to them talk about Ted Bundy, you know, all those guys. So I saw them live in 2018, bought a VIP ticket, got a meet and greet with all the hosts. It was really awesome. 2018, I saw Arctic Monkeys at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland. I don't really remember too much about this show. I don't know why. I've always been a big Arctic Monkeys fan, but I don't really remember too much about this show. It was not that memorable to me. last concert I saw in 2018, this was more of like a club than a concert, I guess. But that was DJ Pauly D. Now, if you grew up in the same time frame I did, Jersey Shore was the thing on TV. Like, I grew up when I was in high school when Jersey Shore Season 1 hit the airwaves, and it was like everywhere. It was super popular. Jersey Shore has always been my guilty pleasure show. I've watched it countless times over the years. Like, I've probably watched the first 4 seasons of Jersey Shore probably 5-6 times. I haven't really watched Family Vacation, but I used to be all about the GTL, get the fist bump. So going and seeing DJ Pauly D beat that beat up, it wasn't that great, to be honest. He's not a good DJ. He does that thing where, like, when he has to change songs, like when he has to mix to another song, he'll just pick up the microphone and like say something. So he'll be like, make some noise as he's pulling the fader over to the other track. But it was fun. 2019, actually this is a really busy year. I saw 2, 4, 6, 8, I saw 9 concerts in 2019. First of which was Elton John on his farewell tour, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. A beautiful show. The Elton John farewell show is legitimately the best concert I have ever been at. Cried multiple times. I had great seats. I was probably 6 rows back from the front on this one. There was this old man sitting next to me, probably just slightly younger than Elton, who was crying the whole time. At the end of the show, Elton got up on this sort of conveyor belt type thing and went up into the backdrop of the Yellow Brick Road. Really beautiful, very, very good show. Elton John, even that old, he still has it. Now, probably the worst concert I've ever been to in my life in 2019 was Tyga. Now this was at, I believe it was the Jewels nightclub at the Aria in Las Vegas, and it was terrible. Tyga was super late. You could barely hear him on the sound system. You couldn't even see him, and he performed for half an hour, 45 minutes. Legitimately the worst concert I've ever been to, and it was so crowded in the nightclub, you could barely walk, it was just a disaster. And in 2019, this is the only Weezer concert I know the exact date of was in 2019. I have seen Weezer live 3 times. This one was in Portland, and this is the one I got front row seats for. This was right before the release of the Teal album. This is when Africa was blowing up. I've also seen Weezer in San Jose and in Seattle, but this was a Portland show 2019. Being front row for Weezer, basically I could have reached out and touched Rivers Cuomo. I ended up keeping a set list from the end of that show. Yeah, Weezer, anytime they come near me, I always make a choice to go see them. Also in 2019, I saw Wallows, and this when Wallows was first getting big. Are You Bored Yet? Had kind of just come out and was blowing up on Spotify. 13 Reasons Why, I think, was coming into season 2 or something like that. So the lead singer Dylan Minnette, he plays Clay on 13 Reasons Why, which I feel is a show that's already been forgotten, even though when it came out, it was as big as Euphoria was when it came out. 13 Reasons Why was everywhere when it came out, and now nobody's talking about it anymore. But yeah, the main guy from that, Dylan Minnette, he had a band Wallows, which I think is now, he's probably more famous for Wallows. I don't think he's acted in anything recently. But I didn't really know who they were at the time I saw them. I just kind of went, so I didn't really appreciate it. But what's funny is after the concert, I became a pretty big Wallows fan, but I don't think they've really released any new music recently. I saw Last Podcast on the Left again in 2019. It was not as good as their 2018 show. They got a massive rise in popularity doing the two shows. They were in a bigger venue. They'd kind of toned down some of the racier elements of their content a little bit. And it just wasn't as fun. Like in the 2018, I got VIP tickets to both. In the 2018 show, they took like probably 5 minutes talking to me, answering my questions, like making me feel seen. In the 2019 show, it was literally just handshake, selfie, see ya. Just a way less good experience. I didn't even remember this one. I was just going through my social media posts and saw this, but apparently in 2019, I saw the Goo Goo Dolls. I don't remember seeing the Goo Goo Dolls, but I have a picture of me at a Goo Goo Dolls concert, so I don't know. But I'll tell you what I did see in 2019. It was the Lil Wayne Blink-182 tour, like the weirdest combination you could ever imagine. And Lil Wayne was like an hour and a half late to the show. But when Lil Wayne did finally show up, he did very good. He did this fun thing where he would like go do like the first half of a song and then just do the next song. The whole show, I don't think he like did an entire song front to back the entire time. I don't think he did. And he thanked the crowd between every song. That was cool. Blink-182 honestly was kind of lackluster. Lil Wayne brought a much better show than Blink-182. And then my final concert of 2019, there were a ton of them. Hobo Johnson, do you remember Hobo Johnson? I feel like 2018, 2019, he was like all over the place. Peach Scones was like very popular. I don't think he's released another album since then, but I saw him in concert in Portland. It was in a small venue, and funny enough, I went into the bathroom before the show. As I was going into the bathroom, he was coming out. We kind of like said hi for a sec, so that was cool. But the concert was kind of whatever. I got a picture with him after the show. Now this one's weird. I didn't even think about this really, but like this next concert was kind of like right as COVID was kicking off. Lockdowns were starting to go into effect. But I saw Smash Mouth. It was a really weird vibe. We weren't allowed, like we had to be socially distanced out on the like dance floor area. But like lockdowns weren't in effect yet, mask mandates weren't in effect yet, but it was just kind of that weird middle ground. But we saw Smash Mouth. The lead singer unfortunately ended up passing away kind of recently. It was not a good concert. He was very drunk. He was slurring his speech quite a bit. He kind of got angry at the crowd for like kind of only wanting certain songs like All Star, things like that. But and the most recent concert I've been to was Aftershock in 2022. Now that was an entire festival. I actually did an entire video dedicated to that concert on this channel. But there were so many great bands there I always wanted to see. Rob Zombie, Kiss, My Chemical Romance was the big one for me. You know, a foundational band for me, much like Fall Out Boy. And many, many more. Danzig, so many. So Aftershock, that was 2022, and that was my most recent concert. I have tickets to see Wardruna in January of next year, but I didn't see any concerts in 2023. And unless something changes, I don't anticipate seeing any in 2024. But I guess we'll see. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Just a short and sweet classic ASMR video today. Let me know in the comments down below your favorite concerts that you've ever been to. If you've seen any of these artists that I mentioned today, what you thought if you saw them live. But anyway, guys, I do hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single